there, welcome. It has been a while since I've casted a live, but I thought I'd talk about something I find interesting. So, this particular thing, it pertains to cameras. Very interesting, very interesting. Not so much to me, but for some individuals, it just matters so much. I had a recent situation with a female. Nothing bad, of course, nothing bad. Just the exchange of words and thoughts and whatnot, and it correlated very heavily with something that happened back during my so-called marriage. Um, we lived in an apartment together. I'm talking about with my ex-wife. Lived in an apartment together, and I something happened to where I had to get cameras. Not that when I say I had to get cameras, like it just made common sense to me. I had to get cameras. The kingdom was not secure. I just needed to have cameras because things were not as secure. Um, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and tell you what happened. So I think I talked about this in one of my uh, broadcasts before, but I'm probably going to talk about this in the future as well in a pre-recorded broadcast. If you haven't heard about the series that I got coming out, Star-Crossed Lovers. Um, yeah, Star-Crossed Lovers is a series that I am kind of making. It is particularly about um, my relationship. So you'll see the emblem like you see up here in the top corner. That'll be the emblem for Star-Crossed Lovers. So of course, when you see that, that's what that is. But particularly in this situation, I had a recent encounter with a female, um, with whom I'm dealing with at the moment. Nothing serious, of course. But she brought up the cameras. I told her about the cameras. She saw the cameras, and then I guess we had this weird conversation. And this is modern. This is today, like right. What's currently happening. Today as of August 21st, 2024. Um, and there was a situation that I correlated with my ex-wife, and when she was telling me about the cameras and not liking to be on camera and blah 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 blah, and I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any sense because I'm like, the cameras are there, and then she tried to pull some bullshit like I didn't. I guess she heard somewhere in the legal field or something, which apparently she does have experience with. Um, hey, you can't record me without my consent and blah 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 blah, and I don't. I mean, some bullshit about that. And I was just like, okay, this is kind of weird, but here we go. So that correlated with what happened with my ex-wife about 2.5 years ago. And so this is back in 2021, 22. A situation happened. I'll go ahead and tell you about the situation. I remember it very, very well. It is etched into my soul, as a matter of fact, because it's one of those situations you never want to deal with or have to deal with. So here we go. So if you don't know, I work nights. I work long days, 12 to 14 hours at times. At this time, yeah, I was working about 6 days a week doing that. So you can do the math on that. I was tired as fuck. Often. I was lucky. I've had more sleep in the last year or two than I've had probably the prior 5 or 10. I slept. I mean, I would get enough sleep to where I could do this back in college. I can get 4 or 5 hours of sleep and I'd be good. Maybe a little power nap here and there. I was young buck. I was capable of doing that. I could recharge very quickly. But eventually that took its toll. It took its toll, especially when my ex-wife decided she wanted to get off birth control and get pregnant and then birth the child, ahead of schedule, of course. And my sleep was just, I mean, it was just abysmal. Like I literally had little to no I can't even remember if during this period of time from 2019 to 2022, I literally cannot tell you if I ever had more than 5 or 6 nights where I slept for at least 5 hours straight. Hell, I'll even do this where I slept for at least 4 hours straight because you do know there's a process for sleeping. That deep REM sleep is very important to get. Yeah, I cannot tell you if I ever got that in that time period at all. Like I would maybe get 1.5 hours, 2 hours at top, 3 hours tops, to be honest. Because in between me working and my daughter constantly waking me up while I'm trying to sleep because mommy's either not attending to her or working herself. Um, yeah, it took its toll eventually, which I'm dealing with a bunch of health problems today, possibly because of that, and also the chronic stress of dealing with the unruly. Uh, that Bible quote about living in a house with an unruly spouse, it holds a lot of truth. I'll just say it like that. Yeah, that holds a lot of truth. A lot of truth. I'm not that stupid to not believe the Bible's a book of wisdom, by the way.
I'm not that big of a fool, and I'm not going to deny.
So yeah, dealing with the constant stress of that. My sleep was abysmal. Okay. So that being said, during the situation that occurred, I was sleeping. I actually had a fairly decent sleep. This might have been one of those 5 nights that I was talking about where I actually got 4 hours straight of sleep. It just so happens that when I woke up and I go to the door to go check on my baby girl, which is what I usually do first thing I wake up, wouldn't you know it, as soon as I open my bedroom door. Now, mind you, I'm 5'11". I lift weights. I'm not a small man by, you know. Yes, I'm lean built, but I'm capable of handling myself. I'm 5'11". Tell me why I open my door to the bedroom and I swear to God, he's got to be like 6'4", 6'5", big burly looking motherfucker, white dude, look like the lumberjack guys. Like I literally mean that. Like this motherfucker was huge. This big ass burly looking lumberjack white dude, bald by the way, which that's a there is a thing called skinheads, right? They hate black people. I don't know if you know anything about that, but yeah, there's this thing called skinheads. So mind you, all this is going through my head while I'm now. Mind you, this is in seconds. I open my door. This big ass white dude in front of my door. I guess he's because that's apparently where there's like a water heater right there, and then there's also the air vent for the apartment. This big ass white lumberjack bald head dude, 6'4", 6'5". He's built his damn self. Let's just say if we would have gotten to a fight, I would have been using weapons because it was not a fair fight by any stretch of the imagination. I just woke up. I literally was in my boxers and shit. This dude like had on fucking work boots and shit. Like he would have whooped my ass, like straight up. And I'm just thinking, okay, if something pop, I'm just thinking in my head, what the fuck? Like if something pop off, I'm kind of immediately looking towards potential weapons. So I'm like, before I could even say what I'm gonna say, he's like, "Oh, I'm here for to fix the thing." So apparently, he was let in, and this is another thing about certain apartments: they have keys, and sometimes they will just the people who are servicing your room. Now, mind you, he's a contractor, so he doesn't work for the apartment building. He's there to fix an issue with the water heater, or some shit. So I've never seen this guy before. I know the service people that were at the apartment building. I've never seen this guy. So he was a contractor, like third party, which apartment complexes occasionally do if they have a problem that they can't fix themselves. So he was there for that. But while I'm looking at this guy and I kind of put two and two together, I see what he's doing. He kind of tells me like, okay, of course I ask questions and whatnot, and he kind of tells me what's going on, and I'm like, okay, don't you know now? My daughter's bedroom is straight to the right of my door. I can see straight into her room. Her door is wide open. Now, mind you, my little baby girl at the time, she's like 2 years old. Little skinny little thing. I mean, you can literally grab her up in one arm and take her away. So apparently my wife And her brother, whom was living with us at the time, someone put in a work order, did not tell me shit about it at all. Apparently, the guy got access because whoever the management, whatever, the service people, they let him in the apartment. My wife and her brother were gone. It was just me sleeping in my bedroom with the closed door and then my daughter. Now, this is what ticked me off. Not just hearing that situation of just how this happened, because already that sounds bad, but oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. Don't you know, I look down the fucking hall to my daughter's bedroom and she is butt ass naked, jumping around in her room. Butt ass naked. I'm talking about nothing on. She done took her. This is the time where she was like taking her diapers off and stuff. Now, obviously, she was clothed beforehand, when my wife was actually there and her brother was actually there. But occasionally she does this thing where she strips down and she finds it funny to run around the house butt ass naked. Yeah, this was a thing. This is something that kids do apparently. But so I'm looking at this big burly ass white dude in front of my fucking door. Now this is before the explanation of what the hell's going on. Um, this is like as soon as I open my door, I look at this big ass white dude. I look down the hall to the right. My butt ass naked 2 year old daughter is jumping around, giggling and shit in her fucking room. And I'm just like, what the fuck? In my head, of course. I didn't say it out loud, but I'm just like immediately. I guess the guy could see that look on my face. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Now, mind you, like I said, I didn't know my wife and her brother were gone. Like, she occasionally does this thing where she's there and then like I don't know if she was off or something and she was supposed to be there watching my daughter. Her brother was there, but he just comes and goes as whatever. So it was just me, my butt ass naked daughter, this 6'5" white lumberjack dude. I just woke up, I'm in my fucking boxer briefs. He's got work boots and shit on with power tools and shit on his belt. Now, mind you, in that situation as a father, I can't just sit there and keep quiet and act like this was not a problem. This big ass white dude could have stole, he could have raped, he could have murdered me in my damn sleep for one. He could have snatched up my little baby girl and took her away. Nobody would have known shit. Absolutely nobody would have known shit because both the other grown-ups were fucking gone. I didn't even know there was a service call for the damn apartment or anything. You see where I'm going with this? We did not have any cameras. There was no security in my house at all. That was a big ass flaw. And I saw it immediately. And I shit you not, right then, right there, I immediately put an order in for some cameras. I think it was on Amazon or some shit. I'm talking about immediately. I went down the hall. I had my phone while I'm in the room, trying not to curse out my little baby girl. Getting her clothes back on her ass. I'm clicking the buttons to order some fucking cameras because I'm just like immediately I saw a problem. I'm like, oh, this cannot happen. Because I was like, what if he would have did something to my daughter? Nobody would have fucking known at all. He could have grabbed her little naked butt ass and just right out the door with her. You see where I'm going with this? So obviously I was like, okay, I'm getting fucking cameras. So I get I think two cameras, one in her bedroom facing the door, so anybody goes in or out her room, one in the corner of the living room facing the door, so anybody that comes in or out the apartment. That was it. That was all. Now I have to tell that long story because of what happened afterwards and what leads into what's making me why I'm making this video. So come to find out, someone was unplugging the cameras that I had set up. Come to find out, it was my ex-wife. Didn't know she was doing it. I was just like, I would set up the camera. What I was doing was I was testing to make sure the cameras worked. So I plug them up. It would take a while from the boot up or whatever, and then I would kind of either when I'm out and about or something, I kind of check the feed to make sure it's still working and operating. That's what anybody would do when you set up something. I check the feed while I'm there. Okay, it's functioning, it's working. Then I go to work and then I go to like kind of check the feed as I'm away from work because apparently it's hooked up to the Wi-Fi. I wanted to see if I could hook up to the cameras while I'm away off the Wi-Fi on my device. And it just so happened like, okay, while I was trying to test it, it wasn't working. I was like, oh shit, okay, there's a problem. Apparently it's not working properly. I don't even think I had the memory cards working right, so it wasn't even really recording properly at all. Like you could only pop in for live feed at the time. Eventually, you could order this cloud subscription for it, which I did order for one or two of them, and then eventually it would record on a cloud, so it would actually save the footage eventually. But like I said, at the time when I was testing it, I didn't even have anything like actually recording the footage. I could only, pop in to see it live or whatever. So while I was away, it wasn't working. Then I get back and I'm like, okay, I look at the camera and I kept noticing they're unplugged. Someone was now these cameras are crappy. Um, yeah, they still worked, but they're reasonably. But they had this. They're like you screw them into a light bulb socket, and for the function they were actually worked pretty good. But they were crappy in the sense of you had to keep them plugged up. There's no battery. As soon as you unplug them, you're fucked pretty much. Wi-Fi goes out, you don't have a SD card or something recording locally, you're fucked pretty much. Because like I said, it records on the cloud. So I would get home and I'd notice, okay, why are my fucking cameras unplugged? So at first I thought maybe because some of the plugs were kind of loose. So maybe I was thinking, somebody jumps on the couch and it loosens it up or something. And then eventually, like I would like tape them in the wall just to secure it better. And then I would notice, okay, that shouldn't have just fell out. And then that's when and this was like after a week or two, and that's when I was like, okay, somebody's unplugging this shit. Now, mind you, nobody's telling me they're unplugging it. I had to come to that conclusion myself because I'm thinking, okay, maybe they're falling out by accident or blah blah blah. Because some days they would be plugged up, other days they'd be unplugged, and I had to come to the conclusion myself. So then I go to the two culprits, the two potential culprits. Obviously, my daughter is one. She said no. Obviously, I'm gonna like, okay, give her a kind of side eye because she's a little 2, 3 year old. She doesn't know anything. So then I go to my brother-in-law and my ex-wife, and I'm like, okay, are you so I think the brother-in-law said no or some shit. Obviously, I don't really give a shit about what he says because I can't trust him to be honest. And then I go to my ex-wife and I'm just like, okay, are you unplugging the cameras? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then I immediately asked, I'm like, why? Why are you? Now, mind you, I told them about the cameras. It's not like I got cameras and I tried to hide them from anybody. I told them about the cameras. I shared the link with them. I think I even told them about that whole situation I just told you about, why I got the cameras, because that situation was just a big ass fucking wake up call to me. And when I got the cameras, there didn't seem to be a problem with them at first. That's why I was surprised when she kept unplugging the damn things because she didn't tell me there was a problem with the camera. I told her about the camera. I told her why I got the cameras, and then she just went about unplugging the damn cameras, and I was just like, okay, why are you unplugging the cameras? Now, mind you, I had to go to her to ask her why she's unplugging the cameras, and she tried to give me this bullshit excuse that she doesn't want to be on camera, which no, that wasn't the reason. I'm like, okay, no, I told you why I got the cameras. The footage, you literally can control and look at the footage. Hell, she could even, if she was actually smart, she would actually know that, like, oh, I can go and actually delete the footage that's on the fucking thing. Like she had access to the whole fucking camera. But it's beyond me to be at this point. I really don't give a shit anymore. But no, it wasn't. What is it? Scopophobia, which is like a camera phobia or some bullshit like that. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't like I was looking at the camera to pick and prod at people. Hell, I would barely even look at the camera. As a matter of fact, the funny thing about it, the whole situation with our relationship, how I found out what was going on in my household, which you'll find out in the Star-Crossed Lovers series, how I found out about all this shit was literally because she was unplugging the cameras. Remember, I couldn't record the footage. I wasn't even checking the footage. I was just checking to make sure the damn cameras worked. But don't you know, like when it came out, or eventually when I found out she was sabotaging the cameras, she was unplugging the cameras for no good reason. I was like, okay, immediately. Now, mind you, at this time, my ex-wife, she did cheat on me back in college. She knows this. I know this, and I've let her know, like, yeah, I got to treat you a certain type of way. She knows. I know. She knows that I know. She's a liar and a cheater. She is. So I wasn't even using the camera. I guess she assumed I got the cameras to try to catch her cheating or something like that. But the funny thing is, I got the cameras for security reasons, for for the reason I just told you about. And what tipped me off that something weird was going on. One, her obviously, her behavior. I'm not stupid. I know something was going on, but I was just trying to. I was buried in my work at the time, and eventually, when I saw what I saw on the cameras, that's when I started kind of. I was still able to at least be competent at work, but I will say it did take me away from work to try to figure out and save my family at the time. So I went on this long ass, it was like about 2 year trying to figure out what's going on relation or that relationship, whether or not I could change myself or something to try to, I don't know, get my wife back in a way, because I was losing her. And I could see I was losing her, and she was going out late and with other people, and I was just like, okay, what the fuck is like, why am I losing her? Like, what's going on here? So it took me a while. Obviously, it was just she's going through her own personal shit. I can't think of anything. Like, I've been through therapy, multiple people, talked to numerous people, more than I probably have in my entire life, to be honest. And there was nothing that I could point to myself that was the issue. And a lot of the issue was actually coming from her. So, that's when you kind of have, and I'm not the type of person to point the finger, because I was, like I said, I was looking to figure things out on myself. Now I did evolve and improve myself, but at the same time, that's when I really realized, oh, you're the problem. And sometimes, like, when you do all the work on yourself and all that stuff, you do have to acknowledge the problems that are around you. So she ended up being the problem, and I had to take care of a problem. Thus the divorce. So I am the one to initiate that. Obviously she wasn't, because I guess she liked what she was getting out of me at the time. But this goes into the situation with the cameras. Again, let's go back to the cameras. Now, why was she unplugging the cameras? Now, obviously, she never told me the legitimate reason why she was unplugging the camera. She told me the lying bullshit reason. She told me, oh, she just wasn't comfortable on the camera. Well, why wouldn't she be uncomfortable on the camera? Well, if you think about what the camera does, for example, the police footage cameras. We all know about, when the police, they have those cameras, the body cameras. Oftentimes they bullshit around with the cameras. They cut them off and whatnot, because they're doing some dirt. They're doing some shit they ain't got no business doing. They being dirty with it, but it is what it is. But it's hard to lie when you have. I mean, you can't. It's proof. It's proof beyond proof. To be honest, it's one of those proofs where you can't unsee it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So it's proof. And it's for that reason that they cut off the cameras. So that's why the police cut off the cameras. They're trying to skirt accountability for whatever actions, oftentimes criminal, that they are committing. That's what they're trying to skirt. They want to do something that they know they have no business doing. The camera will potentially catch it, and they don't want that to happen. So a situation with the cops is the Sonia Massey situation that just happened. You had Sean Grayson. Don't you know his body camera footage? It only started after the shooting with Miss Massey, and had it not been for the other officer who had his camera running the entire situation, we would not have that footage at all. We would not know what actually happened. We would not know, because they would have lied. They would have said, like they did try to say, she came at him with boiling water. She threatened him. That's what they would have said. Now we all saw what happened on the video. The video, you can't unsee it. But we all saw what happened on the Sonia Massey video. But like I said, Sean Grayson's camera started after he shot her. Now, why is this important? I already told you why this is important. Because had Sean Grayson's video been the only video during that shooting, it literally would have been a he said, and the he's are the cops. And Sonia Massey would be dead. It would have been chalked up to whatever they said it was. That's it. And that was all. And that was why Sean Grayson did not have his camera running at the time. So, and obviously, you look into his background and stuff, and you're like, okay, this guy's, he dirty, dirty. So that's what one thing you learn with the dirty cops. They keep their cameras off until they need to turn them on. And keyword being need to turn it on, because if a situation happens and your camera's not running, obviously, um, there's going to be some questions. You're going to be disciplined per se, but let's just be real. They're trying to skirt accountability. That's that's what they're trying to do. They no longer wish to be obedient to the laws. They think they're above the law, even though they're here to enforce the law. Same thing with the Breonna Taylor situation. Had that not been on video, they would have said she had a weapon. Her boyfriend shot at them. They would have said that she had a weapon. They saw a weapon in her hands, etc. etc. Hell, they probably would have planted a gun on her. Yes, that has actually happened. You can see body camera footage of cops planting stuff on certain individuals. Funny thing being their own camera being the thing that catches them. Or actually, in some situations, people's camera phones catching them planting stuff, because obviously, another thing that dirty cops do, if they do have their camera running, if you ever notice the cops, they have their arms in front of them all the time, like on their chest or something like that. They often hold their hands in a way to cover the camera. So even though the camera is running, they block the camera with their hands. Again, same reason. They're trying to skirt accountability, and because they no longer wish to be obedient to the laws. Now, when you get in a relationship with someone, when you get married with someone, there are laws in that relationship. You set boundaries. Well, what happens when someone no longer wishes to be obedient to those laws and boundaries? Well, they lie to you. They sneak around, they try to deceive you. And of course, as I found out myself, they don't wish to have recordings of anything, if at all. Because remember, one of the things about lying, it is hard to keep a lie. It's hard to maintain a lie, because oftentimes when you tell one lie, you tell another lie, you tell another lie, and then eventually you get to the point where you tell so many lies, you can't remember all the lies you tell. So then you just kind of try to go down this mental trail of, okay, I would tell this because I don't want that to be exposed. And eventually something slips out eventually, because you can't keep up with all the lies properly. So that's why liars hate to be on camera. That's why liars hate email and text messages. Because if they say they're going to do something in an email or text message, if you share information on the email or text messages, it's a record. There's a record of that. There's a record that you can go back and see, hey, you agreed to do this. Here's the email. Hey, you agreed to do that. Here's the text message. You confirmed it. Now, a liar, it's hard for them to lie and say, no, I didn't. I never said and did that. Now, if you're on the phone with them, now here's one thing I will say: liars love talking in person and on the phone, preferably in person, because they know you're not recording them or something like that. On the phone, it's a little trickier, but you can record phone conversations, even though it technically is illegal, depending on the state you're in. So that's why they like doing that, because they can just be like, oh, that's illegal. You can't record me. Kind of like what the old girl was trying to do here in the situation I was talking about here currently. She was trying to pull some, oh, I didn't consent to be recorded or some shit like that. I'm just like, wait, what? My cameras run 24/7. It's for my security. It's for my safety of my guests too. Because if you try to claim I try to do something to you, like that's why it's running. It's to protect myself and my guest, as well as my home while I'm away. Because like I said, the folks have a key to my place. So if they come in here and steal something, which has happened, not to myself but to others, which does happen, I have it on video. Hey, you stole this. I got you on video. That's how it works. Versus if I didn't have it on video and I had to file some bullshit insurance claim and hope it goes through, because you know. But that's where I'm going with this. So why she was unplugging the cameras? Eventually, I did find out, but the reason for it at the time that I didn't know was oftentimes people wish to skirt accountability. Accountability for what? Their actions, their choices. They no longer wish to be liable for the risk that they take, which we take risk with every choice that we make. So they no longer wish to be liable to them. They fear that whatever the consequences are, they're afraid of the consequences of whatever their choices and decisions are, right? They don't wish to be amenable to consequences. That's key here. They do not wish to be amenable to consequences. Accountability is out of the window. In some nefarious situations, they are neglecting their responsibilities. I saw some stuff on video I did not like between certain exchanges between my wife and my daughter. I didn't. She was neglecting certain responsibilities. In some cases, if you pay for someone to lie about something, usually when people lie, it's based off fear. It's fear of consequences of something. It's the fear of a consequence of something. That's why they have to lie. That's why they have to be deceptive about it, because they're trying to skirt some sort of consequence. They don't, there's something that they're trying to get around the risk of some choice they made, some decision they took. So they lie. Some folks lie to gain favor, but then again, it's still based off some fear of them not receiving something, or their fear of receiving something that they do not wish to receive, i.e., a negative consequence. In a way, if you tell me, they're not just neglecting their responsibilities. They're not just, trying to skirt accountability. In a way, they're giving up on themselves. Because when you have to go that far, you've essentially given up on the person that you know you are. You wish a false reality to instead be projected. And that's essentially what you're doing. When every lie you tell, you're projecting a false reality to someone. And with every lie, every false projection, you're just deeper and deeper into this pit of, I guess, self-neglect in a way. Because you've given up on yourself. You pretty much told yourself, I cannot be that person. So instead, I'll lie about it. So hopefully that hit you same way it hit me when I was just thinking about that, and how I dove down that rabbit hole about that funny little situation with certain people and cameras. I have nothing against cameras at all. I don't like taking pictures and videos myself, but security cameras, I get why they're there. I do. I have them myself. I understand why they are there. I just put a DVR on my vehicle. I've been a long time, yearning for that. And then I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and just take care of this before something happens. Because the reason why I'm not afraid of it is because I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not doing something I'm not supposed to be doing. I want to hold myself accountable. Every decision I make, everything I do, yes, I wish to be accountable, to be held accountable for my choices, for my decisions. I have nothing to hide. That's why I'm okay with the cameras. I am completely okay with the cameras. 1000%. Anybody that comes to my household has to become, hey, I got cameras. I should probably get a sign that just says 24-hour surveillance, because I'm just like, yeah. Now, the only issue with that is, now, obviously, the cameras are set up in public areas, like public areas facing the front door. I think one of them, it gets a little bit of the kitchen dining room area, but the main thing is just catching anybody that comes and goes. I got like 2 on the door, one in my daughter's room, a couple others. I'm not gonna tell everything, but I got them set up in public areas. I'm not trying to catch somebody using the bathroom. I'm not trying to catch myself having sex or any of that. No, I just have them in the public areas that I need, entry, exits, that type deal. That's it. Hell, if they need to know, how the camera looks, hey, if you want to look at the footage, I'll pull it up if I remember how to do it. That's the funny thing. Like, you have no, like, If she watches this video, she'll probably slap herself because she doesn't realize. Like, I hope you know what tipped me off that something weird was going on. Not just your actions. Eventually, I would have found out. It would have taken me longer though. I most likely wouldn't have looked at the cameras, but the fact that she was unplugging the cameras, I'm like, okay, what are you trying to hide here? Like, what the fuck? That's what tipped me off. That's literally what tipped me off, and that's why I actually started checking from time to time when I got weird alerts during weird times of night. I would look at the footage, and I'm like, oh, that's why you was unplugging the camera. So that's the crazy thing. I'm like, okay, I don't check the camera footage every day. If something happened, I hope y'all know, like, when you go to the store, they got this, they say the 24-hour surveillance. I hope you know that most of those stores, if not all of them, they don't actually check the fucking footage all the fucking time. The footage loops, meaning they don't keep the footage from, say, a week or two ago. It gets deleted or whatever. And they don't check the footage unless something happens. So something happens on a certain day, they're like, okay, let's go retrieve the footage. That's usually how that occurs. Same way with me. Had my wife not been unplugging the cameras, I probably never would have checked the fucking footage unless something happened. That's the crazy. Like, even now, I don't check my fucking footage unless something happens, something weird's happening or something. Like, I literally don't check the fucking camera. Like, I get alerts and stuff, and to be honest, 9 times out of 10, I don't even check the alerts like that because I'm like, oh, it's probably just my neighbor leaving or some bullshit like that. Now, if I get home and I see my house is ransacked and my door's wide open, okay, yeah, let me go pull all the fucking footage. You see how that works? That's the crazy thing. I'm like, and maybe it is fate. Maybe that's God looking out for me or whatever. Because had she not unplugged the cameras, which it was stupid, she gave me some stupid ass reason why she was doing it. And the funny thing is, that's what tipped me off. That's what tipped me off to what was going on in my own house, under my own nose. I was oblivious to it. I was just like, okay, these are for security reasons. Something happens, here we go. But I thought I would just get that thought out there. And why some people have this weird fear, this weird disdain for cameras, security cameras, notably. Security cameras. I had another situation with a guy in a parking lot. He had took some pictures of my vehicle when I pulled up. I keep it clean. I am looking to potentially sell it in the near future. So I see a guy taking pictures. I'm thinking, oh, he might like the rims or something. He might like the vehicle. I've done that sometimes. I'll take a picture. If I see a vehicle I'm not familiar with it, I'll take a picture of it. I'll go look it up. I've done that myself, right? Now I'm pulling up to like a Taco Bell, and he's like taking pictures of my car as I'm parking. He just walked out the Taco Bell with this woman. I'm assuming his girl. So I walk in, I don't think anything of it, and then I'm like, oh, I remember this is a situation that just happened. I remember like, oh yeah, I'm looking to sell this thing out. Let me go see if he actually admires my vehicle, if he might be interested in buying it. So I go, and I just so happen to catch them before they're about to pull off. Ironically, they stop right in front of my car. Because I was parked right in front of the restaurant. They pulled out of their parking spot, and for them to leave the parking lot, they had to cross the front of the store and my vehicle. And I just so happened to be walking out right as I saw them. And I kind of, wave at them to try to get their attention as they're driving. The woman is driving, the guy is in the passenger seat. She sees me, she slows down. I guess either she or he lowers the window. Now like I say, he's sitting in the passenger seat. Now I got my phone in my right hand, but also got like a wrist brace, which is black. My phone's not recording anything. It's not even on. I think I was like checking my credit cards or something because I was in the Taco Bell. I was about to buy something. Oftentimes I lock my cards, my credit cards. So I think I was like unlocking my credit card at the time or something. And as I see them about to pull out, I'm like, oh, let me go rush and see if he might be interested in buying my vehicle. So I rush out. My phone's still in my hand, and I guess as I wave him down, I'm standing in front of his window, right? The car window, and I'm like, "Hey, I saw you taking a picture in the car, and if you like what you see, like." And before I could even say like I'm looking to sell it or something, like if you're interested in buying, the guy sees my phone, and I guess he assumes I'm recording him, And when you know this guy, he reaches down, pulls out his gun, waves it at me, and says, "Turn the fucking camera off. Don't record me. I don't want to be on camera." Now, mind you, this is why this story relates to what I'm talking about. So his gun is like some weird ass minty blue and gray color. So it kind of takes a minute for it to register to me what it is, because I'm like, okay, what the fuck is he waving? And then all of a sudden I see like, oh, it's a fucking gun. He's fucking waving a gun at me. And I'm just like, oh, and then immediately I put my hands up, I back away from his vehicle, and I go right back into the store. And then they go to leave the parking lot. And I'm just sitting there thinking, now mind you, this is recent. This just happened not even like a week or two ago. And I'm just sitting there thinking as I go back into the Taco Bell, and I'm just like, okay, something just didn't settle right with me, because that whole situation was just weird. Because I'm like, if he has that type of response to me as I come up to his vehicle, now mind you, my phone was not on. It was not recording anything or nothing. He just assumed it was, because I guess some folks record in public like that. But I assure you, it was not recording. I wish I was, because then I would have got their fucking license plate. But something just didn't sit right. When I'm like, okay, why the fuck would he respond like that to me? I was like, but he was like taking pictures of my car. Like, wouldn't he be interested in hearing what I had to say? About him taking pictures. Like, I saw him taking pictures of my vehicle, and then it dawned on me. I was like, maybe he was looking to steal my car. And I was kind of thinking, I'm like, okay, if he took a picture of my license plate, like, would he be able to like look me up and find out where I stay at, and then to come steal my vehicle or some shit? So I ended up calling the cops, filing a report, and the cop went ahead and told me like, yeah, he probably was looking to steal your car, because people do that. He told me like, yeah, people case out parking lots, they'll go and take pictures of vehicles and whatnot, case them out, and then later on they go and steal the cars. And then that's when I was like, okay. So my spidey sense was tingling for the right reasons, of course, because it just didn't. I was like, okay, why the hell would he respond to me like that? Why the hell did he have this weird, like, no, like I said, my phone wasn't on, I wasn't recording him. Like, why would he feel kind of weird, like me recording him or something like that? And then, of course, as I went to report it to the cop, and then he told me, and he confirmed, he was like, yeah, he probably was looking to steal your car, because I do have one of those vehicles. If you look in the news, they are being stolen a lot, and that heavily relates to this whole situation. So he didn't want to be on camera, because obviously he was up to no good, and he was looking to disobey certain laws per se for self gain. So I thought I'd leave off with that. And if you encounter someone like that, they have this weird feeling with cameras, just know that's a sign of something. That is a sign of something. But thank you for watching. And as always, this is information. You know what to do with information, right?
Don't let me down, man. If you let me down, I don't know what I'd do.
Thanks for.
Don't let me down.
This has been the crossover. Long time, but it is what it is. Till next time.